Hi, Sagittarius. It's Denise with Divine Soul Astrology, and today I'm here to discuss the horoscopes for April of 2026. So, this is going to be for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, not necessarily in that order. I would say more like Rising or Ascendant, and then the Sun and the Moon. They're all important, but that order would be a little bit more appropriate, I would say. So, let's see. Sagittarius, the beginning of the month is the Libra full moon. And I already have a video on that, so if you'd like to see that, check that out. And the Libra full moon happens in Libra, of course, but that is your 11th house of the future your 11th house of the future. It's about social connections too. So, it could be, and it can also be about, you can check that out, but it's in a kind of an exciting, the Libra full moon in that 11th house, because both of them can be kind of about friends and how we relate to others. Yeah, definitely social connections and things like that. So, yeah, and so the first half of April, Sagittarius, is highlighting your fourth house of home and family and emotional security. All right, so the fourth house is our emotional needs. That's why it's also the house of the family, uh, right? It can be also, the fourth house can be like, moving, right? Or not necessarily moving, but where you live, your physical address. So we're going to have Mercury making you very quite curious or analytical about something that is related to that fourth house. Maybe your emotional needs could be, but here we have, and likely also Sagittarius, what to do about it. So, because Mars is there and Mars wants us to take action. Mars rules Aries, it rules Scorpio, and it is the planet of action and courage, right? So, we have Mars entering Aries on the 9th of the month. So, Aries is your fifth house, Sagittarius, your fifth house your fifth house of self-expression, your sense of self, your self-identity. This is also about creative pursuits and children, anything as related to, creativity, really. But it is also the romance house. It's very important of desires. And uh, God, we have a giant mosquito eater in here, and he's just kind of floating around this desk right here. But maybe that's a sign, right? But we have, also that house is about love and desire. It is, and it is also it's about sex. It's also about, our talents and how we shine in the world, right? And how we shine, and things like that. So, yeah. So now we also have Sagittarius. Mars will enter Aries on the 9th. Okay, so that's going to be interesting for you because Aries is a fire sign and your fifth house is very fiery. It is based on Leo. So yes. And so then we have after that and so when Mars enters Aries, it's going to be in full dignity. In other words, Mars rules Aries. So this is exile. I mean not exile, exalted. So what we're saying here is that it's very powerful, right? This is what I'm saying here when Mars enters your fifth house of love and pleasure and creative self-expression, all right? So Mars, representing the courage and drive, and will conjoin with Mercury, and Mercury rules our thoughts. It rules how we process information, thinking, right? And also our communication, anything really having to do with intelligence or the mind, right? So they're going to get together and so we have Mercury will again conjoin Mars on the 20th in your house, in that fifth house of self-identity and self-expression and love and desire. And so, yes, and so when Mars moves in there, you could be really kind of focusing on what you want to create for yourself, the fifth house, right? Of, self-expression and creative pursuits. It could be maybe you are focused also on romantic pursuits, could be. The sun in Aries in your fifth, also the sun is in Aries, right? Of course, during Aries season, and until the sun moves into Taurus, which will be on the 19th. But the sun in Aries in your fifth can also relate to your career because the sun is connected to how we shine out in the world. So this can be your career, including your talents and creativity. The sun enters Taurus on the 19th, moving into your house of work, health, and daily affairs, right? Daily affairs, the ones that make our lives function. So this is the functional house that everybody needs. It's like you need your work, your health, and you need your daily life or your lifestyle to be a little bit streamlined, right? So we're going to have the sun entering that, putting emphasis on those areas of your life, very kind of nitty-gritty areas, but they're very important. On the 23rd, Venus enters Gemini, moving uh, out of the sixth house into your seventh house of partners and relationships. Yeah, exactly. So when Venus enters the seventh house, that's very powerful because Venus really rules the seventh and the second in the natural chart. So this will definitely be either about love and relationships or how you relate to others and create harmony and balance. It can be your perspective on, your relations with other people. It doesn't always have to be romantic. Any type of partnership there. And the seventh house is about, like I said, harmony and balance. It's also about our opponents in our life or things that, are always kind of on the other, doesn't agree with us. It doesn't even have to be a person. It can be just a situation or something that is kind of opposing us, right? That is the seventh house. So, but when Venus enters there, Venus can bring a lot of love to our relationships. It can. We could also, it can talk about kind of cerebral relationships. In other words, whatever relationship you have with your significant other, could be you have a lot of conversations. It's very cerebral, right? Where you're curious about the same things. That can be going on there too. You could be making decisions in love as well when Venus enters Gemini. That's a possibility. So, yeah, it can have you curious about your partnerships, plus your perspective and your personal perspective on relationships. And as I said, how to establish balance and harmony. You may be becoming more resilient in love or with whatever you are creating, your self-expression, right? You could becoming more resilient because Chiron is there as well. Chiron is actually in Aries. That is your fifth house of romantic love. Yeah. So a lot going on there. Um, mhm. And maybe you could also be kind of reinventing yourself in some way as to your creative aspects, creative pursuits rather. And the sun in the fifth house, Sagittarius, during Aries season, at least the first 19 days of the month, it's going to be asking you to be authentic, be yourself, shine. Don't shy away from just kind of being who you really are, right? The sun wants you to be, the sun is a sense of yourself. And when the sun is in your fifth, it's telling you, hey, just be authentic and show the world who you really are, all right? So thanks so much, Sagittarius, for joining me here today. And if you've enjoyed my content, please like, share, and subscribe and hit the little bell. You'll be notified of my next upload. The next upload will likely be the new moon in Aries. And the new moon in Aries is on the 16th of the month as we enter Taurus season, right? So that's very interesting how that's happening. The new moons are now, they've been at the end of the season. So we're still going to be dealing with, Aries, a lot to do with Aries, the new moon, planting new seeds in your fifth house, Sagittarius, of creative pursuits, right? So that will happen on the 16th. And, yes. And also, we did talk about, excuse me, Venus entering Gemini. Venus will also be conjoining Uranus, and the Uranus is the planet of change, and it is the planet of unexpected change, surprises. Uranus wants us to innovate, but Uranus wants to get away from stagnation. It's change, right? So we're going to have Uranus at 29 degrees of Taurus, and that will be conjoined with Venus. Really interesting there. And that will then move into your seventh house, Uranus. So there could be some changes for you. And Uranus is always asking us to kind of to be adaptive, be open and embrace change because there's something better. That's usually what Uranus is doing. So Uranus will enter your seventh house of relationships. Maybe there could be an unexpected, and Venus will enter that too. There could be an unexpected marriage for you. That's a possibility. Can talk about a lot of different things, right? And remember, Venus will be there as well, and supporting this change or this innovation. Also, Venus will be protecting or, Venus wants to protect your finances. Venus is the second benefic under Jupiter, which is your ruling planet, but it is a benefic. It provides blessings and benefits, basically. So, Venus will be supporting your money, your relationships, your harmony in your life, and all these kind of good things. So thank you so much, Sagittarius. If you've enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe. I might have said that. Yeah, and I will see you in the next video. If you'd like a reading with me, check out the description box. I'm a psychic. I do tarot readings. I do past life readings. A lot of really good stuff that really kind of getting into the psyche. Because all this can help us live a better life, right? Astrology can help us definitely live a better life when we are paying attention to the transits and our own chart combined. Yeah. So thank you so much, you guys.